been given access to receive messages of clarity, guidance, and love. As channeler, psychotherapist, and author, Noemi Grace has an intimate dialogue with the divine on your behalf. Lisa Berry, creator of the show Light on Living, will be co-hosting as live callers ask their burning question on self-love, self-healing, deepening relationships, areas of struggle, and next steps. By simply listening in, you're receiving wisdom that will lead to sacred stability from every channeled message that Noemi delivers. Join us now as we give you access to angels and grace. Well, hello there, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Boy, Noemi, I have to say that the words in our intro really, a few of them jumped out at me more than ever today. I can't wait to share that. But first of all, how are you, Noemi?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. And how are you, Lisa?
Oh, I'm so good too. I'm loving the theme for today. I think we all need it, want it, and the fact that we get to have access to asking more questions about how we can be a part of the solution. It makes me feel kind of rich and abundant to a new frequency that we're all needing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to read in a little bit from a message, a download, I call them, a channeled message from the divine from Monday of this week, the 13th. And, I was thinking about the week first thing and, how the numbers are doing and all of these things. And I could feel that my anxiety was rising. And then I heard, be part of the solution. And it struck me like, oh, we can be part of the solution because we're all waiting for someone out there to do something to fix it for us and feeling fairly powerless to affect any change. And there's a divine solution to every problem, right? Every problem has a spiritual solution. There's a phrase that goes like that. So there's a saying that says that. So there's a divine solution to every problem, and the divine aspect of this solution we can help with. We don't have the skills to develop a vaccine or anything like that, but we can help with the divine solution because, remember, Albert Einstein says you can't solve a problem with the same consciousness that created it. And so we need to have a more elevated consciousness, like at the spiritual level, with the divine, the level of source. There's a solution, and that solution is going to free us.
I've actually been using that statement since was that only this? No, it was yesterday. I was like, that was only this morning. Yesterday when you brought this to my attention about being a part of the solution, do you know that I immediately, every time during the day that any kind of, not just a conflict, but a problem arose on any level, it could literally be like, what am I having for dinner? Like any kind of problem I came across, I was like, oh, wait. I'm a part of the solution. And it immediately put me in a different frequency. And I came up with, you are powerless when you're in the problem, but you're strong when you're in the solution. So I was like, oh, I love that.
Yeah, yes, because our power lies in being part of the solution. And feeling powerless is just so automatic right now with everything, waiting for the next instructions, the next don't leave the house, do this when you go shopping, don't go shopping, waiting for all of that and waiting for, okay, you can venture out, but feeling like waiting. So I hear from my clients a lot, I can't wait till this thing is over. Or like, are you going stir crazy yet? Are you, they're asking me, like, how are you handling this? And, because it's like this limbo land that people are living in, that we're living in, and we want to be done with this. We want to get to the other place that's going to be better. But there are riches in here. There are gems in here. This is like being, in like the desert where there are actually gems, and and so that we can find for ourselves. We can discover the gifts in this, and it's important that we do. It really is important.
Me. I can't believe you said that. Of course, I can believe you said that. I've never picked up a gemstone to have during our show, and I did an amethyst, like a chunky raw amethyst, and I've never just kind of been playing with this gemstone or stone or rock for our shows, and you just said that. That was so much fun.
Well, starting to do a little bit of channeling here, but it's so important. I mean, the freedom lies in realizing that we are a necessary part of the solution. We're like the puzzle piece, that last puzzle piece that is not complete without us.
Yes. And we have access. I like that. That was what jumped out at me, is that we can be a part of the solution, but how somebody might be thinking, okay, well, how do I be a part of it? Well, I think the thing is to acknowledge and to feel that you have access to the solution. The solution's there floating around, and we're going to have access to it through you, to the divine in just a few moments here. But actually, that's a great place to start. Did you want to read what you had channeled?
Yeah. So this is a message that I said I was received on the 13th, on Monday, about being part of the solution, because I, like everyone else, or I won't say everyone else, but I, like most people, do get caught up from time to time in what's going on, in that what we're being fed about, this is what's going on. And so there I was in bed again, just reflecting, and I had to pop up out of bed to start writing. And it was, be part of the solution. Stop focusing on the problem, and you become part of the solution. Seek to be part of the solution. By this we mean become part of the transmission of divine love and grace to your planet and to those who are suffering. Become the light and love that is needed now. You do this by filling yourself with divine love, which is always available to you every moment of every day. Simply ask for our love to fill you, and it will. Simply bring your attention to those who are suffering and in need of healing and love, and direct the love you receive from us to those who need it most. In this way, you become part of the divine solution, and also saturate yourself and fill yourself up with divine love and grace, which is always flowing to you. Limit your exposure to the news and negativity as you would limit your exposure to others who might have the virus. Limit what does not serve you in the highest way, what drains you. Limit the consumption of the junk food, not only literally, but figuratively. Clear the junk from your mind. Clear the fear from your mind by focusing on love, by receiving divine love and sharing that love with the world. Share divine love in kindness. Greet others that you may see when you leave the security of your homes. Thank the grocery workers. They are suffering. Thank the hospital workers by sending divine love. Yes, we are always sending our love, but when you join us in sending love, you actually expand the love that is being shared, and you expand yourselves through receiving divine love, light, and grace. We have spoken much on the purpose of these times through Noemi Grace and others, and we want to remind you to remember why these things are happening and to maintain a higher perspective at all times. Recognize when your altitude is dropping and stop and intentionally raise your vibration to that of unconditional love by receiving divine love into your hearts, minds, bodies, and souls. Be the solution with us, and you transform the suffering of these times to grace. And in doing so, you transform your own experience.
It's so beautiful. I love that, transform the suffering.
Yes.
And light, love, light, and grace. Grace comes up, and I like that word. And grace is flowing to you. I wonder if somebody were to imagine, you know how we can practice the feeling of something, practice the feeling of appreciation, gratitude. What is an example or something that somebody who maybe doesn't know what grace feels like flowing to them, what does that feel like to you?
What does grace feel like to me? Interesting question. So first let's be on the same page with what grace is. So in my third book, which of course is not yet published, which is going to be all about grace, about how to receive divine grace. The divine it defines grace as God's love in compassion, action, and transformation. And so it is the compassion of the divine, the love flowing to you. So, grace feels like, sometimes we experience grace from other people. Say we've been insensitive, or we forgot that we promised to do something and then didn't do it. And when they can receive that without judgment, we feel that receiving of grace. And the divine grace is similar. It is that unconditionally accepting feeling. It makes me feel peace, joy, and most of all, loved.
I love the unconditional. We can go deep on that one, because there's a lot of conditions that we are. Here's a neat one. I'm feeling like we're allowing all these conditions that are being placed upon us that we are now in, that we are, that's blocking. That's also being a part of the solution is to be unconditional, even if it's just a moment, right? Just a moment to allow the flow, to have that flow.
Beautiful. Yes, It is unconditional, right? I mean, because with conditional comes some level of judgment, some level of assessment of this is good, this is bad. Conditional love is you're good to me, I love you. You meet my expectations, I love you. So that conditionalness has a layer of judgment just built right in. And so in that unconditionalness, we let go of the judgment. And then we can be those that aren't caught up in victim consciousness, because when you got the judgment, that's the primary mode of perspective of the victim. It's like, this one did this to me. And there was a piece of this that I didn't read where the divine says to stop, partaking in the negativity surrounding the news, the blaming, the finger pointing, the defense of some, and judgment of others. And so that there is that judgment, as long as we're in any kind of judgment. And boy, it's so easy to be in judgment right now. I put on the news app on my phone and I'm like, are you kidding me? And then,
You removed that app, young lady.
I'm learning to be very regulated with it, just kind of like, beginning of the day, not the first thing, but early in the day, and then 5 o'clock, and then let it go. So,
and actually, that's exactly, well, I love that you said, what did you, regulated. And sometimes if we are swamped, and mostly like 100% in the place that we, problem minded, and we want to be solution minded, then I would say like that, right? Like even start just with a little bit. And I think that's a little bit more healthy. Okay, if I could just have my 5 minutes, I know I do that a little bit. I just kind of say everybody and everything needs to stop I need a minute, I need 5 minutes, I need something here, and to really flood and flow, have that flowing going in. I came up with these 3 words that to me are very solution oriented, and they're stability, clarity, and creativity. Really, those words, like stability, because I think a solution, when we feel like we have stability around us, like what chaotic is the opposite, right? Like
which we got plenty of, right? We can find that.
Right. So I was thinking, if we could find where is some stability in your life right now, like find it, feel where there is stability, and then focus on that, and then where is there clarity. And then creativity, because as we know, when we are stressed, creativity is a no-go.
Doesn't quite happen. But, so I like that, and stability is going within, centering in love.
Yes.
Love is the most stable thing. I mean, what we associate with love is, I fell in love and this and that, and that's all up and down, and, I fell out of love just as easily as I fell in, and all of that. But unconditional love is the most stable element in the universe. It's It doesn't change. It's unconditional. So receiving divine love, for me, that's where the stability lies. And when I realize I'm just like off, or I'm caught up in stuff and I'm up and down, that's where I go to. I need more divine love.
Yeah. Oh, I just started singing Phil Collins' song, I Need Love. I need more divine love. I think it would be nice when we do come back, because we still have another minute before commercial, but I'm feeling like that's, yes, what we'd love, I think that the question will be that if you could reach in there, reach up there, reach out there around you, and ask how to access the frequency of solutions in our lives right now without actually knowing how. Like, we don't need that it's not an answer, a solution. Oh, I know. The question is, we're all asking for answers. Are answers different than solutions? And what is that frequency shift that we can do so we're focused in solution versus answers? That was a lot.
Interesting.
But I'll remember that.
Okay.
Answers versus solution. And I almost feel like, answers are more like, I demand an answer. Well, solutions do have creativity in them. So, I'm excited. Okay, you know what, everybody? I think this is going to be super helpful for everybody in any situation they're in right now, globally or just individually. So please come back to us right here, Access to Angels and Grace with Noemi Grace and myself, Lisa Berry, after the commercial. We'll be channeling that. Well, Noemi will be channeling that question.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
The universe is eager to help you and give you clarity. You only need to be willing to ask your burning question and listen to the answer Source wants you to have. As a channeler of divine messages, I take your questions directly to the divine and hear what Source is longing to tell you. I'm Noemi Grace, and my co-host Lisa Berry and I welcome you to join us as a listener or caller on Access to Angels and Grace, 2 Wednesdays a month. Call in, ask your most burning questions, hear the divine's exact words giving you guidance and clarity. Access to Angels and Grace, where messages of joy await you.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
A social distancing tip.
Putting distance between yourself and others is critical to slowing the spread of coronavirus. So here are ways to stay in contact without the physical contact part. Call, send a text, set up a video conference, post on social media, dedicate a song on the radio. If you have symptoms of fever, dry cough, and shortness of breath, call your healthcare provider before going to their office. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part, because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Oh, yay, we're back. And my little mind was going all over the place, hearing what's the difference between answers and solutions. And I want to be a part of the solution. And can you be a part of an answer? No, but and on a side note, did you hear what they said about you can dedicate a song on the radio? And I thought, wow, do you remember back, oh my gosh, like 30 years ago when you used to be like, oh, I'm going to dedicate a song on the radio to my friend or your crush that you had or something. I thought that was so cute.
Oh yeah, that goes way back for sure.
Oh, and I think those things are nice too. Memories, fun memories, just yes, like experiences that we've had. That certainly brings us into the frequency of love and living and activity.
So true, and yeah, it's where we're focusing. So
Yes.
that really makes a difference. So I'm ready to dive in.
Okay.
So to up here,
to polish that question, let me polish that
we
question.
want polish here. Okay.
Yeah, I think what would be helpful, yes, if we would have some helpful guidance and clarity around accessing the frequency of a solution and getting I'm judging here, getting away from finding an answer, learning an answer, hearing an answer. They sound so demanding, but to jump into the access to the frequency of a solution.
Oh, and just think about, it's hitting me, like the title of this show is become part of the solution. So when you're demanding an answer, when you need an answer, when it's like there's something external that somebody's got to give you. You don't have the answers. This other person better give you the answers. The divine, the source better give you the answers. This is, so that's sort of like taking your power and putting it into the hands of the person with the answers, like the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain there. And, and this is becoming part of the solution is not just about something external. It's about the internal shift. So, okay.
Perfect.
Let's dive into this one. This feels juicy. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, as always, I get silent for a few seconds, greet the divine. A few more seconds, and they start talking. Hello, Divine. So glad you're here and can help us with this question, which feels like to me that it has lots of layers and meat to it. So whatever you can tell us so that we're not so focused on needing answers and we can make that shift so we become part of that solution. We're delighted to be here today to speak on this subject because it is an empowering subject to recognize that you can be part of the solution if you shift. Yes, there is a frequency shift, as Lisa mentioned. There is a frequency shift that is needed when you are in the place of demanding answers, needing answers, wanting answers, begging for answers, looking for answers. You are in this place where you need something outside of you. You need someone to help you, and there is nothing wrong with that. But you yourself can become the answer. You become part of the answer. The collective answer requires the members of the collective to participate in becoming part of the solution. You're participating. You're not waiting, just passively waiting for some kind of answer, waiting for someone to provide you what you need. In the shift internally, I can become part of the solution, recognizing that, recognizing the collective needs you. There is a collective solution, and the collective needs you. As Noemi Grace mentioned earlier, talking about the spiritual solution, there is a spiritual aspect of the solution to this world crisis that is vitally important, and it cannot be missed, and it is needed that many, many, many of you embrace this and embrace your role in bringing that spiritual aspect of the solution, bringing that forth, bringing humanity to that. Every one of you plays a critical and crucial part. So first step is to recognize that you are crucial, you are critical, you are a vital element of the solution, and that you can choose to become part of that. You can choose to be raising the vibration of the collective. The frequency shift is not just an individual shift. We want to speak, of course, you individually need to shift, but we are most concerned in this moment about the shift for humanity, for the collective, the opportunity to shift, the opportunity to become the solution and to become the connected collective that you are. Like the cells in the body, they are connected. They are not one on one room and one in another room. They are together. They're connected. They are all connected together. And you all are connected as part of a greater whole. And we have been speaking on this in other downloads, in other messages that we have channeled to Noemi Grace and others. We are speaking to all of you to elevate your awareness that you are part of a whole. You are not just the whole within yourself. Yes, there is a level of wholeness within each of you. You are a whole body. You are not missing pieces of your body. But that body is part of a greater organism, a greater organization of humanity. And so become part of the frequency of humanity's shift into that next phase of transformation and even evolution, as this virus has evolved from what it was to this place that it is, and it has become novel, as many are calling it. You can become novel. You can become a new you, a new collective, a new humanity, and that is what is needed for the spiritual solution. And the spiritual solution, if it is missing, it will come to become a problem for your society and for humanity, because you will become more and more dissatisfied with the lower vibration, the density in which you have been living, and that higher vibrational, the lightness, the freedom that exists in the higher vibrational frequencies is available to you all now. And of course, some are living there now, but we are reminding you that this is a time for a collective transformational shift, as the collective caterpillar going into the cocoon to become the collective butterfly, or the collection of many butterflies all joined together as a field full of butterflies. And so it is really vitally important for you to recognize that you're important and you have power. You are powerful. Where you put your mind, where you put your heart, where you put your energy, where you put your emphasis, all of that is so, so vitally important. We cannot stress it enough, how you can become part of the solution, and you can go within and strengthen yourself, become stronger internally by making that shift to focusing on love, to focusing on light, to focusing on grace, to focusing on receiving all of those and becoming, transforming into love, light, and grace, transforming into the essence of who you are, into the truth of who you are, which is not how most of you live. Most of you do not live the truth of who you are, because you do not know the truth. Being open to receive that truth starts with first going within and filling yourself with divine love, asking for divine love. There is an infinite supply, and we are available to just zap it to you immediately, to send it off immediately. And so we are here with you, loving you, loving you, loving you, loving you through this, loving you every day. We want you to receive that love. It will transform your experience in this time of crisis. As always, we have said, we have so much compassion for the suffering, and you do not have to suffer as much as you are suffering if you can receive the divine grace that is available through divine love to you right now. We're complete for this moment. Namaste. Namaste.
Oh, yes. Yes. That was so deep and thorough, and deeper in a cosmic way that I felt. I felt more. I opened up more cosmically to that, and it's made me think of that we've been choosing, and I'm taking responsibility here. We've been choosing to suffer, and I know that people might go, "Bah, Lisa, don't say that," but it's because by not making a decision, we are making a decision. So if we are not choosing to be a part of the solution, then we are in fact choosing to not have a solution, which means we're the suffering and we've chosen it by not choosing it.
Yes, by not choosing something else. That is default, right? Living by default, right?
Yes.
As Abraham talks about, in this day, in this age, is to be suffering. And it was interesting that I believe that they said that you do not have to suffer as much. They didn't say, you don't have to suffer at all, or, that because, the human element. I have a friend who's very sick. She's making a slow recovery. It was painful to find out about it, and, we're sending her lots of love, light, and grace. She's an amazing light worker herself. And so, it's the suffering is here, but we can transform that suffering. We can step out of the suffering. And I'm a very slow reader, and I've been reading this book that I told you about, Lisa, for a while now. I read it about one chapter a week, and it's called No Mud, No Lotus by Thich Nhat Hanh. And his thesis, which I thought was fascinating, because I've heard that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional, kind of a Zen kind of mindset. And he says, no, suffering is part of the human condition, and it is the art of being able to transform suffering that allows you to be happy. How good are you? How skilled are you at transforming suffering?
Right.
Transforming that into grace, So he didn't use the word grace, but that was sort of the how I felt it.
Yes, and what the cosmic part of it for me was, and I this question just kind of came to because I know how with the Heart Math Institute, they measure our vibration, our frequency, of like we knew there was a spike with 9/11, the global fear. And I've heard another, I don't know the number, but I'm told that there's a tipping point number, of which if so many millions of people around the world open their hearts or certain number amount of monks chant, like there's this thing that there's in numbers, this we can have this transformation. And I'm wondering, has the world vibration or frequency right now lowered because of and can we raise it just as quickly? That could be a channeled question. I don't know.
Yeah, because I don't know the answer to that myself. I do know that there's definitely been lower, but in my perception of it, there's lower and then there's higher. The people who've been aware that we can choose our vibration are some of us are more aware and making more of that choice. But I get lower if I get too caught up in let me see all the news items and if I sometimes as an empath I can just feel lots of suffering and I don't know where it comes from and usually my boundaries are pretty good and I don't experience that, but I've had a few moments of that through this crisis and this time of crisis, I guess. So it's what I do have a sense is that it's important that so the divine is talking, and we'll channel this after this the commercial, but that it's really important not to become more polarized. So it's in this time, and because there's been such a polarization, and if you live in the U.S., you certainly can see it, and probably it's more. My assumption as living in the U.S., my perspective is that it's more polarized than other countries, but that could be incorrect. But that it's really important. So it's like we need to help lift up those ones that are in that low vibration. So if you're talking to somebody and they're just complaining or fearful or speaking in an anxious way, that we have to help them, to lift them up, because if we become more polarized, that is not going to help the planet. and it's not going to help the species. So there's a level. Oh, yeah. So they're saying that we need. Okay. So they want to talk about this. So we have our question for the so that we can help. How can we help the collective, right? So because we're so individually focused, I can raise my vibration, and I do focus on that. It's vitally important. So I'm not swallowed up by this. But how can we help others who are maybe not so aware that they have the power to raise their vibration, that they're in the default and they don't know that they can get out of that.
How to get out of the default. I like that. And one thing too, just before, because I know we're sneaking off, but it's the importance of raising our vibration and helping others is so important, because other life is just still going on. I mean, I still have things that, like, my kitty cat got injured again last night, and I thought, I need to, and I'm sending the love and just telling her she's just loved, and then it's actually helping me even add more love. So I just, that collective, that layered, and that, to the power of, to the power of, for uplifting and raising vibration. I think, on a global cosmic scale, that literally we're lighting the world up. I think that's going to be beautiful. So let's ask that beautiful question. When we come back, everybody, to Access and Angels and Grace with Noemi Grace and Lisa Berry.
Being a radio host on IOM-FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
Did you know that you have the power to change anything in your life? Did you know you can do so even with the things that you've already decided are impossible to change? Come join me, Venus Castleberg, on Outside the Impossible as I interview people from around the globe that have literally changed the things they thought were impossible to change just by using the amazing tools of Access Consciousness. Now airing Wednesdays, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Do you dare to believe that anything really is possible?
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
Hello there. Welcome back, everybody, to Access to Angels and Grace. And before we go into that very question that we're going to ask Noemi to channel for us, I would love to just invite everybody, sometimes we can hear somebody's voice, or we can be able to reach out and talk to somebody, but sometimes we just need a message, like just to read it, to see it in front of us. And I know, Noemi, your book has just offered so many people that personal quiet time with themselves, when they can just sit down, read a chapter, get some guidance. And I'm doing a little promotion here. Your book, An Intimate Dialogue with God, book 1, as you said, there's 3, The Miraculous Power of Unconditional Self-Love. And I really thought it was important for me to bring this up about that whole unconditional part, because we were talking about it earlier. And I think that's a great, not only for yourself, but even if you want to pick it up as a gift. So I'm sending everybody to your site, Noemi. It's noemigrace.com. And that way you can either pick up a book or have your own session with Noemi. And I really wanted to mention that this time around, because I think that that's what we all need right now.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Lisa. And yes, my book is also on Amazon, and you can also get it there very easily. So Yeah, that book was so transformational. It's changed my life to receive these messages, and in the book I talk about how that happened because it was never my intention. But it's so great for this time, the unconditional love, and it talks about how to open up and receive, how to fill yourself with divine love, as the divine was talking about in that first channel message. The book goes into great depth about that, and it is really relevant for these times. It's so important that we focus on that, on becoming the love that we are. And it's about discovering the truth of who we are, our individual truth, our essence. And it's so, I love it. I just can't. I love it, and most of it is not written by me. Most of it, I do share my experience and my story, and I have some things that I wrote, but most of it is channeled from the divine. And so it's very eloquent because of that.
Yes. And I have to say, the one thing, there's points of reflection, which I go to often just to get like a thing like, what could I want to meditate on something, or not even meditate, I want to reflect on, reflect, obviously, reflect. And the first one literally is the root cause of aloneness is separation from your true self and source. Mm-hmm. So if everybody's feeling alone right now because of the separation, it's the separation from your true self and source. I don't feel alone. I'm like telling my to shut up sometimes. Like, stop it, leave me alone. Always feeling that connection and love. And I think that's an important thing to reflect on, is reflect on the connection with, and that's what we were just about to ask about, not doing the default, but going to. So let's polish that question up, because I feel like there's the raising vibration. Before we ask, no. Let's ask you to ask Source.
Yeah, they know what question they want to answer.
Okay, good. Oh, yay, because I was thinking, I know something about vibration, and I thought, no, but I'm getting fuzzy on it. Thanks, Source.
Yes. Yep, we can thank Source. There are messages they want to deliver. They're answers, solutions that they want to deliver. So they just love the opportunity. So grateful to be able to be of service in this way. So that all being said, I think I'm going to take a swig of water, so you might hear a little noise, and then I'm going to get silent. Okay. So this question about helping others who are not aware and of how to raise their vibration, and so that we can bridge the gap, decrease the polarization, Anyway, you know what you want to say. So thank you for your presence, and thank you for your willingness to communicate. I just am so grateful. So grateful. And we are grateful as well, grateful for the opportunity, grateful for the listening and the listeners. And yes, this is a very important question. This is a very important answer and solution that we wish to provide you in expanding on the last message, that you are not alone, you are not individually alone, and you are an important part of the solution, but you're important to help those who do not know, those who have lost their way. There are so many lost, so much loss and lost. And the more loss that is experienced, the more people become lost. And so many of you have lost your way and lost yourselves and lost your idea and knowing of yourself and lost your connection to us. Even though it is not lost, your experience of that connection is lost. You have lost the ability to experience it, even though we are sending our love, we are sending our light, and we are sending grace all the time. 24/7 on your planet. 365 on your planet, all the time, sending it, gifting it. And so we want to let you know that it's always available, but each one of you knows people who are struggling, and who knows people who are struggling more than you are. So you may be struggling, but there are those who are struggling more, and those who need help, and those who need the love, the grace, the support. And so we are concerned also not only about making this transformational shift, but making it for the whole species, that all of you can transform and shift and be at a higher level, like a quantum shift, like an electron jumping to a higher orbit. And that quantum shift in awareness, that quantum elevation, that it becomes global, that it is not individual. Everything has been so focused on the individual for decades, centuries, even millennia. So we are saying that now is the time to focus on being part of the whole, and as part of the whole, to not leave others behind. You would not leave one leg behind. Maybe it's limping, maybe it's dragging. You wouldn't say, well, I don't need that leg, I'll just go one-legged. So sorry, sometimes they say things that make me laugh. I'm very visual. I apologize.
I laugh too.
Yes, I'm very visual, so I'm like limping, visually one-legged. Anyway, my apologies. Back to the divine. And you would not go one-legged. You would not leave part of your physical body behind. Do not leave part of the human body behind, the human collective. Reach out to those that are suffering. Help them. If you hear someone complaining, if you hear someone in fear and someone in anxiety, elevate them. Help them to elevate themselves. Share something positive. Share something positive that you've read or that you've heard. There's so much positivity being blasted to you through so many teachers. Share that. Uplift them. Help them to see. Share something that you experience. Today in meditation, I felt peace. Share that. Share your experience with them. And also share your experience. Bridge the gap. Share your experience of the suffering too, but do not get caught up there. Yes, I was fearful too. I was anxious this morning, and then I meditated, and then I found peace, and I found connection to the divine, and I just felt hopeful. Share that. Share your experience. Be willing to be more vulnerable, to be more divulging, to be more disclosing, and more not walled off and not keeping everything within. It is time to share the treasures that you have, the gifts that you have. Be willing to share those higher moments that you experience. It is so easy for so many of you to share the negative, to share the low moments. Oh, I was really depressed today. How about I was uplifted today? Or someone called me, or I called someone, or I heard a podcast. I saw a video. I became uplifted. I experienced one moment where I was not fearful. Share that. Share whatever the truth is, the reality is of your situation. People need that. Do not get caught up in wallowing with them in their fear. Help them to raise out of that. If they were stuck in the mud and couldn't move, if they were stuck in the quicksand and they were a loved one, would you let the sand swallow them without making an effort to help them? You would not. Recognize the importance it is for you to make that effort, for you to share your highest truth, your highest experience. Share that moment that was the highest moment, the highlight of your day. Share that with them. I know it's scary to go to the store. I did it too. I surrounded myself in light. Whatever it is that is your experience, share it. Share what you've learned from other teachers. Share that which came from outside of you, but also share that which came from within you, what you have done to help yourself. Help others to help themselves. A lot of them need teaching. A lot of them have not learned the basic lessons that you have learned. If you're listening to this message, you have already learned many lessons because you are listening to Access to Angels and Grace, and you would not be doing that if you were fully suffering, all about the suffering, all about the blame and the judgment. So you already have elevated your consciousness to a certain level. Share what you've learned. Share your gifts. Share who you are. You are a vital element, a vital member. You are vital to the solution. And we are really concerned that polarization is not extended on this planet. It is so polarized, so many levels and layers of polarization. It is time to extend yourself in warmth. You extend your hearts to others in compassion, to extend yourself in grace. You too give grace and gift them the ability to help themselves. Show them, share your light with them. They may be sitting in darkness. They can't get out of darkness unless light is there, unless light appears. Be that light that's appearing in their world, which may be very dark, and be the love. They need so much love. Do not judge them for their low vibration, for their suffering. Bring the love and light to them. It is important. You all know people, whether they're your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, your colleagues. You know people who could use the help. Be willing to be the help. Be willing to be part of that solution. We are complete again, and grateful and thankful for this question. Namaste. Namaste.
There's a lot of sharing. I like that.
Yeah.
Expressing, sharing. And actually, isn't that funny that I just talked about your book before, because that's you sharing messages, sharing what you've received, sharing the love, sharing, yes.
Yes, sharing my experience of where I've been struggling and sharing, because I was pretty vulnerable in that book, and I am extroverted, introvert. I'm more of the introvert. I definitely, I was vulnerable. It was not my norm before that to be so vulnerable.
I love that you just said that, because I think maybe that is actually where some fear of sharing is coming from, is because some may feel, to share things they are too vulnerable, and that's where it really matters to step into an unconditional world, because then we can allow ourselves to be more vulnerable and to share more.
Absolutely. And that's when we make a connection with someone else. When we are vulnerable, people can relate. Yes. People see the humanity in us. They see the commonality in us, which they can't see if we're like, yeah, well, I've been reading all these books and I'm enlightened, and not that we would say that, but we could act that way, right? We might not say it in words, but we could act like, oh, could you stop complaining? We're like, okay, they're suffering. They're complaining because they're suffering. We can help ease the suffering.
Do you think that healers right now on the planet are feeling, I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you think it's harder for healers to say that they're suffering as well, because they're trying to be, or are they just so grounded and have been practicing that this is their time to shine, to be there for those?
Yes to both. Yes to both, right? We, as healers, we are human, and many healers are empaths. So as an empath, you're going to feel things, and, it can lead you into that suffering. But we have the tools to elevate ourselves, and if we've learned to be vulnerable, then we can reach out. We can tell someone, usually on Wednesday nights, although I won't be able to do tonight, I have a Zoom call now with some friends, and we're just being honest, like, oh, I was all over the place, or I was up and down this week, or and these are light workers too, and so it's just nice to be able to just be honest.
Yes. Actually, just you made me laugh, because I usually go, I need to have a bath and wash this off, kind of thing, just to get the end of that negative energy. But the lake had just thawed, so imagine it's cold. There was ice there last week, and so I said to my guy, I go, I gotta go put my feet in the lake. He's like, really? I go, yes, I get to discharge this right now. So now my saying is, go put your feet in the lake. So
which is great. And some of us, we don't. I have lakes nearby. I live very near Walden Pond, where Henry David Thoreau, if you were American, might know. You might have heard of him, but if not, I would understand, because you're not from the U.S. But most U.S. people from the U.S. know, and he did his seclusion. He voluntarily went into seclusion in the woods, and so I live very near that pond, which is very large, but I can't get to it. So.
Right. Well, when this is all, when the time is come, and you'll have to take pictures and share with us, and then we'll title it, Go Put Your Feet in the Lake. Okay. There you go. Oh, but I really, you know what, I love our shows together, our time together, and I know that everybody who joins just really does too. And we're inviting everybody to join us on Facebook Live next Wednesday, and we do it 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's an opportunity for you to interact with us, to ask us questions, to let us know what's going on in your world. And as always, I do want to invite them to your site, Noemi. It's Noemi Grace, NOEMiGrace.com, because you can really also, message Noemi and pick up a copy of her book as a gift or for yourself or book a session. So, but I really truly thank my time with you, Noemi.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. I love this time. I just am so grateful for the connection. I mean, you've helped me share the messages and to share the gift and to share what the divine is wanting people to hear to so many more people, because I never would have said, oh, let me have a radio show. I just wouldn't have done it. So,
So everybody, you never know. Connect with somebody who could be just waiting for you, or not waiting, but a part of the solution with you and for you, and that's how co-creation is. Well, thank you, everybody. Yeah. Thank you, Noemi. So much light and grace to everyone.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you all, everybody. See you next week, live.
Next week, on Facebook Live, OMTimes Magazine. Okay, bye, everyone.
Yep. Okay, bye.